I have a side note about that. So we were up in youth group about a few months ago, and we were doing worship, and Laura's up there doing worship, and we were singing, and I'm there with doing the words and stuff, and all of a sudden, we were doing the song "Reckless Love" we just did, and I was like, I just felt the presence of God just going through the whole room. And after it was done, I was looking at Laura, and I was like, here's a nurse I know. Laura and I are only 3 days apart in our birthday, so, and in the same year too. So sometimes we call ourselves the twins. And but we would look at each other like twins do, and it's like, did you just see that? And it's like, and I'm going, yeah. She goes, do you feel that? Oh yeah. She goes, we got to have to do that. Oh yeah. So that's a side note there. First of all, I just wanted to give a little bit of update. It's been a long time since we did Youth Sunday. It's been a long, long time. Last time when we had it, we were known as the Awaiting, and that was for a long time and stuff. Throughout the last time, we felt as a leadership team, the youth leadership team, that we felt like there was a change, and there, the Awaiting was good, it was great, but we felt like God has us somewhere else. And we came up, we had the kids, we had it all up there, and on and on, and here it is, we're the Ignite. And because we felt like God is igniting the young hearts, and igniting, you can look at scriptures, and you'll see that, at end times, the young ones are going to lead the way, and and so that's why we felt like it was time for a change. And then also throughout the time, we've been going through, just like any family, you go through some really great highs, we go through really some lows and stuff. We lost some loved ones during that time. We lost, even some youth kids, and it was really hard. Some of the youth kids lost their parents just recently too. We had some that have had to move away, and some are going to move away. And as any family, you go through those ups and downs. But one thing to say, just like the family of God, when you accept, you're always in the family.
That's right.
And so that's the same thing, with us with the youth kids. Even though they might not be here, we still think about them, we still pray for them, we still love them. And that's our update for that. So I'm going to start out with scripture, and this is going to explain especially a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. And it's from 1 Kings 19:12. After the fire, a still small voice. So today, I'm going to start with a prayer. Father God, just thank you. Thank you for all the many blessings you have given us. Right now, I just ask that you be in our midst. I ask Holy Spirit to be with me, give it the words that you want me to say. Let your presence be felt here. We thank you and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. For a while now, God's been preparing me for this time. Back in November, Deb Solon came up to me and asked me to go and talk at movie nights. And the movie was, trying to think here. Huh? I can only imagine, that's right. Thank you, Sharon. Yeah. But it was, and when I did, I said, okay, I'll go. And, she gave me the movie. I looked over the movie. I haven't seen it yet. And I knew the story a little bit, but after going through it, it was like, whoa. And I looked at it, and I'm like, I couldn't believe how many different, how the same that, Bart, the singer from Mercy Me, and myself had. And, he talked about his childhood and stuff, and it was like, wow, And so I did the speaking and stuff, and it opened up a lot of stuff that I was trying to hide away for a long time. And, I was able to speak, and it turned out real well. And, well, after that, God, came to me and just, talking to me and in that small still voice, and talked to me about, different stuff. And he went through all the different stuff in my head and, tell me that, I want you to speak about it. And I was like, okay. So I called to Pastor Tom, and I told him a little bit and stuff. He said, okay, we'll find a time. And, at this time, Pastor Tom's been going, he had a surgery going and everything. And so we had to kind of put it on the burner and stuff. Well, we felt, like I said, we had that encounter of God on youth group. And it's like, and I felt like, okay, we need to start we need a youth, and we all agree, all three, all us leaders come together, and it's like, it's time. Of course, I went to Pastor Tom, told him, it's like, yeah, Pastor Tom, yeah, I want to see you Sunday. Okay, yeah, we go. So we set a date for today, and, but sometimes, when you start going back, and especially something that's been painful, and it's very hard. It's you open the stuff that you try to hide for a long, long time. And today I'm going to share some of the stuff about me, and you probably didn't know, and because I try to hide it, but I feel that God wants me to say, not trying to hurt me in any way, because that's not the God we serve. No, but he wants to, because there's people out there that are hurting. It could be you, it could be anybody, and I think it's going to help. I know it's going to help because I'm here. So first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So 45 years ago, I was born. Now, the circumstances were a little bit So, hey, we gotta have some comic relief sometimes. So I was born, but the circumstances was a little bit different. It wasn't like a traditional. My mother, just got done not too long ago. Just got done had a divorce and stuff, and my father was not with his children. He had a divorce too. And they met together and stuff, and I was born. At the time, my father had 6 children from before. They were all pretty much teenagers when I was born. My mom had 3, and they were pretty much teenagers when I was born also. So they were like older. My mom was about 38 when she had me, almost 39, and my dad was about 40. And so I was the change of life baby, pretty much. So, and this, understandably, and nowadays, you hear that's not a big deal. A lot of people have children at 30, in their late 30s and stuff. But back then, that was a little bit different. And also, then too, we had, road versus grade, and that just got done, and it was the thing. Well, one of the things, when my mom was pregnant with me, she had a incident when she was working. It was a fryer and stuff. And the guy who worked there, the owner, didn't, they didn't have, like, a lot of rules that they have now with OSHA and stuff, and you have to make everything has to be good and stuff. He left the wires out. My mom pregnant, and so she got shocked. So, of course, when you're older and you go in there, stuff, and then especially then, when now that just came, it was just a big thing. The doctor says, well, your chances are to have this, it could be not good. You also, he could be very intelligent, or he could be very dumb. Doctors are awesome sometimes. So all this, of course they were saying, you can have this, and my mom, she been through a lot in her life, and especially those recent years and stuff. Of course, we're Swedish and we're very stubborn. So my mom, she was going to have me, and she was going to love me no matter what. So I was born. Side note here, when I was born, I guess the story is, and I don't know how true it is, I was born in Barberton Hospital. Okay, so when I was born, I guess I was very loud. And according to the legend about me, they put me in the corner, and they were saying, and people come to see the baby, and oh yeah, he's right over there. We don't wake him up, because when he gets up, he's so loud that he wakes up everybody else. So we go over, we feed him stuff. There he is. You can see him right there. So, but pretty much, when I was growing up, we, for the first year we were up here. They decided to move down to around the Youngstown area in Girard, when I was about a year and a half. My, like I said, my older brother, he was already in the military, and my sister, she was already got married and had a child already. And so, it was just my mom, my brother Carl, who is here today, and my grandma. And what's really neat about my grandma was she wasn't my biological grandma. She was one from my mom's previous marriage. They liked my mom a lot. So it was good. So for the first 3 years, it was great. It was us down there in Girard. I was growing up. I don't remember too much. I just remember probably just eating, sleeping, probably that. I don't know. But but there's some stories, like I know these are funny. My brother, he was a little bit upset sometimes. My brother Carl, and I guess. And one time we had a dog, and he didn't like that. I guess the dog wasn't supposed to be somewhere, and so he decided to put me down and chain me with the dog. Now,
punish the dog or punish you?
I don't know, but it was, and I liked it, But, so, this, but, thinking about it, it was, it was great, My brother had to watch me a lot. We had a partnership, we didn't have, we didn't have a lot of stuff, but, they used me for football. And they used to throw me and stuff, and used to throw me into the puddles. Now it would be bad, but back then that was fun. I mean, I'm telling you, you go and you throw into the puddles, and I mean, I loved that. I got all money. Mom got but life was great. Also talking about partnership in Girard, it's a mostly an Italian community, and we had and this one of the things that we're known for is a small town. There's three things in each corner of Girard. In each street corner, there's three things. There's usually a church, a pizzeria, or so, and a bar. So we go everywhere, you do where everything is. And there was this place called, we had this pizza place, and my brother, we used to go there, and I got free pizzas because the girls liked me, because I was cute at that time, believe it or not. And my brother, I get free pizza. He don't have to worry about feeding me because I got the pizza, and he gets to talk to girls. I mean, it was a great partnership. I mean, I got pizza, and he gets to talk to girls, and it was great. So one of the things, my mom was always a hard worker. My mom, she worked all her life, and she had to battle a lot. And, my brother took care of me. We used to go a lot of places, and it was, everything was fine. I didn't know that I had any disabilities or anything at the time, So we just, everything was good until, my grandma passed away when I was 3, okay, she was older, she passed away. My brother, he graduated, and then he went into the military. So my mom needed help, and my dad, who lived up around here somewhere, came down and lived with us. And that's when things kind of changed. One of the verses that I want to go with is John 10:10. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. When my dad came, it changed my life forever. I was probably around 4 or 5 when he came. I don't remember too much, per se. I don't remember anything happening or, in a sense bad, but I know there was something, and to this day, I still know there was something that was totally wrong. My mom was working. There been many times where my dad used to, I don't remember, but I know I was left a lot. I was left alone at 5 years old, left alone by myself, and then he'd gone wherever he went. I remember that, he always told me that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't, this, I wasn't his child, I wasn't this, So I started to understand evil a little bit. It was just, but, of course, you don't understand too much when you're that. And so I felt like, now looking at it now, I felt like I had to be perfect. And I seen all the flaws and stuff in my life and stuff. He used to drink a lot. He used to take my mom's prescription pills. He took his prescription pills that he shouldn't have been taking exceedingly. It was a really difficult life in a sense of that. But in between that, my mom, I started to do more weekend trips to my grandma, who lived not that far from there in Howland, over in Warren. And I got there. I had my great uncle, my grandma, and my great aunt, um, who I loved. She was she was awesome. She gave me my first Bible when I was 5 years old, a children's Bible, and stuff. And great lady. Used to take me to the Canfield Fair, and I know what you're thinking because there's a lot of them who were saying, Randolph Fair, Randolph. Okay, when I was growing, but the Canfield Fair was big. If you know that, that's actually the second biggest fair in Ohio, right beside the Ohio State Fair. So, she used to take me there, and this lady had a wonderful, wonderful car. It was like a green, emerald green. I mean, it sparkled. And it was like a 1982, I remember. I think it was like 81 or something like that. It was a Buick with a nice, the nice white roof and everything. Beautiful emerald green, white interior. Beautiful car. But she was cool. And like I said, I had her, and then of course I had my uncle and my grandma. So I had some, had people in my life that, was there. Well, one of these in January of '82, it was a Saturday night. We were at home. My dad, he got into the alcohol and stuff again. And one of the things that happened was I was in the living room, and all of a sudden I hear, my dad said, "Bobby, look at this." Knife goes right past me, hits the wall and stuff. Well, Mom goes, "Well, let's go to Grandma." So I mean, this was like okay. So we went to Grandma's, and then Sunday night we came back home, and I seen my dad. He went to bed, and then I usually down there in the with my mom in the living room. Went to school the next morning. Came home off the bus. Mom was right there and into where we were at my house. She was in the car. We went in the car. She was just seeing her. She was crying. We went around the corner of the street, and she stopped, and then she goes, "Bobby, your dad passed away, this is, and she's just crying. And I just said, and all I can remember was, good. I mean, I know, but at the time, it's just like, that's great, I mean, what you could do when you're 7 years old, you had to go through all this turmoil, and then okay, good. So, that happened, and things change and stuff, and we went to my grandma's a lot because my mom worked, and but it just wasn't. I wasn't the same after that. It was just going through and just having to adjust and trying to figure out who I am, and it's not the easiest thing when you're that young. I had to, in school, they held me back in first grade because I just didn't understand. Reading and stuff was really hard for me. And I had speech classes and stuttering problems and you name it. It was hard, and having all this, and especially knowing that, okay, I'm not good enough. I got to be perfect. I'm not, that's all I can see in my head. That's all I can hear in my head. This is all I had. One of the things, I had, like I said, I did have a great support system in a sense of, I had my aunt and uncle, my uncles and stuff, and grandma. My uncle used to drive him nuts. They had this big Bible. But, I mean, I don't know, have you ever seen family Bibles, the big white family Bibles? They were probably weigh about 20,000 pounds. And so, I had my uncle read me, in the front of these Bibles, they had the children's section. And they had, one of them was Daniel in the Lion's Den. All the time. Daniel in the Lion's Den. Just like, I know a lot of people who have like movies and stuff, they were like, oh, the Lion King, the Lion King. Well, it was Daniel in the Lion's Den, and then my grandma was the gingerbread man. And then, but, so, going through and everything was going, all right and stuff. Then, on my birthday, on my 10th birthday, one of my beloved people I love, my aunt, she wasn't doing too good. She, they all lived together at the one house in Warren, and went up and seen, they say, you probably want to go to see her. She's not doing too well. And seeing that she was just struggling and just couldn't, it was just so hard. I had to leave because it was just so hard on me, just seeing. And then they called the doctor. At this time, even in '84, it was weird. The doctor still came over to your house and did visits. And they came and presumed her dead and stuff. And it was really hard because it was like somebody that I love. And it was like, oh, man, it died on my birthday. And it was like, okay. And I had all this stuff that just happened to me. And it's just like, okay, what is wrong with me? You start thinking, well, what's wrong with me? And, we went through that. And to make things short, I struggled a lot during my, the time. And, we had a lot of good people. I had my aunt and uncle who lived in Girard and stuff, and they used to go there on Christmas and stuff. Well, I finally, in 6th grade, they finally found out that I was doing better in school, but I still didn't have the social, to talk, with the kids and stuff. So they sent me to a special school out there in Warren to, help me to adjust and different stuff. For 2 years, I did, going through that. And then after that, they said, well, you can finally go into regular classes for the first time in life. And I was excited because it was like, okay, I get to be with my cousins. Yeah, my cousins. I love my cousins, and this is great. I get to go and I get to, maybe I could start being normal because I always felt like I wasn't normal. Always felt that, So I said, okay, that's right. I can go. I'd be with them. It would be great. Well, all of a sudden, my uncle and aunt decide, well, it's time for us to move to Florida. In the summer of '89. And like I said, you look at hindsight, it's like, okay, they did the right thing for themselves, but that was the devastating world to me. It's like, okay, what is wrong with me? In my head, I was like, I'm just trying to make it here, and it's like, and just a year prior to that, and this is a very, very important thing, I accepted, my mom and I both accepted God entered our lives. But it wasn't like, it's like, oh, I'm so bad and stuff. It was just like, you want to accept? Okay. And it's just because now looking at it, he was always in my life. But I didn't know at the time, and he was always there. But, so, my mom and I were baptized and stuff. And, well, school started that year and stuff. Then, of course, I was playing football, I was doing okay, and then I was actually starting, that was great. And then I had my appendix was bad, and so I had to have an appendix surgery, and that turned everything upside down again. And then when I got back to school, I wasn't doing too well. I wasn't, I got teased a lot because I didn't understand. I wasn't used to being in the regular classes, and I just didn't understand. So I made it through my freshman year. My sophomore year just got worse, and it's just like, this is just, I don't want to do this anymore. And, so, I was hospitalized and stuff, and I was very, very suicidal, very, very, all this stuff, because, I'm not good. There's nothing good about me, it was all this stuff, just go ahead. I got out of there, and I was doing better. They put me back into, the special classes I was in 7th and 8th grade. Okay, we go through this, and so I just stayed there for the, rest of the time. But even in my junior year, I was back into the hospital again, and just my mom and we were in this house that, my dad died, and that I remembered all these memories and everything, and I just didn't want to do anything anymore. It was just a very, very hard place to be. After I graduated, and after this, of course, we didn't have much. We were, poor, because my mom, during, back in '87, she wasn't able to work anymore because she had a lot of ailments, and so we were on disability and stuff like that, and it was very hard, trying to go and just making, it just, and then of course with my mindset, that just puts more into it. Just saying, okay, I just have to survive. I'm just, surviving. And, we didn't know too much about church. We didn't have too much, I go through. It was hard. It was, because there was somebody who defended me, who was there for me, and he was, a father figure to me. And it was just like, oh, okay, now he's gone. Okay, now here we go again. But I knew after a while, I knew there was stuff, and I had failed, relationships and stuff. And I stayed with my uncle for a little bit, and it's like my other uncle, and we, try to go through and get that, just trying to, make a life. And I knew that the area at the time wasn't good, because I started to drink heavily, because I just turned 21. I started drinking heavily, because, that's the way we do, and I knew it wasn't right, because I have something inside of me that is telling me, and every time I do it, I come home like, every day, So I knew it wasn't right, and I just said, I remember after drinking a lot, I just like, okay, this is not good, and every night like that. Well, the one time, I started experimenting with marijuana. It's like one of those things I did a quick hit. I knew it wasn't right for me. It wasn't. Come home drunk with that, and it's just like, okay, God, you have to do something. You have to just, because I can't. This is just not right. I need you, and I know I just don't want to keep on going and being like this. And so, a few months later, I moved up here with my older brother, and then we moved up here to Akron, and I'm trying to find a job and so I found a job real quick I was thinking, well, I'll just take some time. Oh no, 2 days, got a job. Okay, cool. And, we go and everything was okay for a while. And I started to drink again because, that's, you get into some people and you're just like, okay. But I tried so hard off and on, trying not to do this because I don't want to be like my father who did this, but you feel like, well, that's how, that's just the way of life. And you're struggling and praying and struggling. But one of the things that that now that I know the scripture says, Hosea says 4:6 says, "My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge." Well, I didn't reject it, but I didn't know. No, I didn't know things. I didn't have that inside me, the scriptures, and how important it is to have the scriptures, and how, so it was a struggle for me to understand that. I met a guy, I knew there was a church across the street where I was living at the time, and I went over there, and we went in there, and I started to go to church again, and started, I felt God's presence and felt this, and I felt like I was starting to do getting out of there, but still having problems, especially with alcohol and stuff. But we had a friend, I had become a really good friend of mine, and we met, and we just talked about, we talked about it, and, I told him stuff. Well, the one time in October of 97, I told him, I finally said, I'm still having a hard time with this alcoholism. I have, I still drink. I have this fifth of Jack Daniels in here, I have all. And he prayed over me. Well, this small, still voice came. And I knew it was God. There's that still voice. And says, you need to grab that alcohol, take it out, and dump it out. Now, now, if anybody knows, Jack Daniels is expensive. Okay, you're talking about a $20 bottle at the time. Okay, it's probably a lot more now. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So I went and I grabbed that bottle, took it out of the back porch, and I poured it out. I mean, you're seeing, because it was still about almost 3/4 full. So there it goes. Changed my life. I mean, that activated something in me that, since then, I might have maybe a few, but it's like I have no desire for it. I really do. And I'm not knocking alcohol or anything, but I knew that was a big, big thing in my life, especially with my dad and stuff. So we go through there, life's getting better, and, trying to, own a house, trying to get this, just trying to survive. I started to go through stuff again, with the stuff, just life. We go through, as Christians, we go through life, and sometimes we think, well, when we're born again, we think, oh, well, it's going to be great and stuff. No, we're in a war, and I think sometimes we don't realize that, and that's because we have a lack of knowledge. We don't understand that we're not, we had an enemy who wants to steal and kill and destroy. Nothing came easy. So go forward, we had more tragedies and stuff like that. I met, it was one of the bad times of my life, I met my wonderful and beautiful wife, Tiff, and, we were both, struggling, in a sense. We both were going through stuff, and it came to a really good time of life. We went through some stuff, and we got married and, went through stuff. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we can go to the story and it's pretty cool, especially when the day we got married. But But we've been married, and as any new couple, especially when you had issues before marriage, everything just gets kind of a little bit crazy. And we both had a lot of baggage and stuff, especially me. But we went, we're going through this. Well, during this time, my mother had cancer. Then she had surgery. She was fine. Tiff and I, we lost our house. We go back, and trying to get back to things, and as a young married couple, you struggle for real. Well, we went. There was in 2006. We were getting ready for my mom's her 70th birthday, and at this time, my mom thought, well, she has cancer again. Well, also through this time, we were going through financial things because there were some things that wasn't my fault. They started to deduct money from my paycheck. That makes things hurt. I'm not dealing with stuff too well. During this time, the church that I was going off and on, they found a place. I went back there and we started to help them again. And it's like, okay, well, they weren't doing good. People were leaving left and right, and there were circumstances and stuff. And we had this big meeting one time, and they were saying pretty much we can't go anymore. We have to, let everything go. And of course, nobody wants to. You don't want to let go. You don't want to go and give up on something. You feel like God, and all of a sudden, it's pretty much. It was pretty much right there. It's like, okay, we just can't. We just have to separate. We have to end it. And of course, if you ever had a meeting and stuff, you have this thing, you go, who first the emotions, well, nobody wanted the emotions, go to the emotions to end it. And of course, I knew that it had to be done. And I didn't want to, but I just said, okay, I make the emotions that we are done, and that we, and everybody was like, somebody went ready to go, okay, I second the emotion, boom, boom, boom. And it was just like, okay, it was done. It was, I was already going through everything, and here to this, something that I knew that was really good, and God, it's gone. It's gone. And I felt like I destroyed it. I felt like, okay, I can't go back to this. God, you're going to just have to destroy me now. I'm so bad. And I know now it looks so crazy, but, here it is. I ruined something else, Yeah. Oh, yeah. My people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge, and then also the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Yeah, he really was after me. Bad time. Big time. So, at this time, and then we lose our car. Our car went down and stuff. It's like, oh man, and so it just snowballed. So I'm in a desperate need. So I looked around and I saw this church on State Road. And it was called Community of Believers. Okay, well, let me look at the website and make sure this place is okay. And as everybody knows, there's a story behind it, but I'm not going to go further today. So I looked, okay. So I come in here and, okay, I'll look. And they had the worship, but the worship was, really good. But to be honest with you, I never really seen worship. I didn't really, I heard the worship and I heard the preaching, but I didn't really really focused because I was right over there, and somebody else was talking to me. And here is this still small voice talking to me. And I knew who it was because all the many voices that were going through my head, it was the only one that actually made sense in my life. And I'm going, okay, this is what's going on and stuff. And of course, when you are all broken, sometimes things get brought up that you don't want to bring up. So I would like to do an illustration right now. And so my little nephew, who just had a birthday, so Jacob, and here we go. So Jacob is representing, so when I was over there, so God just started talking to me, and he goes, hey Rob, you remember when you were a kid? You know, you remember when your dad left you and you were there? And I'm going, yeah, I do, yeah. And so what I seen was, this is me when I'm little, and I see me sitting here, and of course my dad comes in and he said, here's our, Dr. Pepper, don't hold that, and don't do the, you stay right here, don't move, I'll beat you, blah, 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 blah. And boom, he's out the door. And I'm scared, and I see myself in this chair scared out of my, I'm not going to do it. I just have this Dr. Pepper. Side note about this Dr. Pepper. This thing is wonderful. I love the taste of Dr. Pepper. Okay? Just letting you know that. When I was a kid, it was great. But the other day when I went and I bought this for this illustration, God talked to me about this. And Bobby, who really affected little Bobby, it affected him a lot because it's like for forever, I had a hard time drinking this, and I still do. So you see, I'm in here, and I'm scared. Well, Drew, I need you. And so so after this, I'm going, okay, yeah, and I'm feeling like this. And then God gave me an inner vision. Get up for a second. And I was like I said, okay. He was holding me the whole time. I mean, the whole time that I was going through this. And I'm thinking that, he was there. It changed my life. I mean, it changed my life forever. Thank you guys so much. And it opened up stuff that it has, it's like, wow. And, it was like, it changed my life. And, weeks after that, I came in and he's talking to me again. There's other stuff, and we're not going to go through that, but it's just, talking about, stuff to do, about your relationship, about this, and God changed a lot, stuff. So, when I'm going to end here is, God has done a lot of stuff in my life, but to be honest with you, I'm still struggling. I'm not coming to you to say, oh, well, after this was great. I'm still struggling every day. Even today, I woke up with dreams and going through warfare and going through stuff. I've been here for 13 years, and this is the longest place I've ever been through. But I still struggle. There's times where, because, Pastor Tomlin said that how much, he tells me he loves me and stuff. There's been times where it hurt me. It's like I pushed him away because it hurt. It hurts because it's like, because I still feel, to this day, I still feel like I'm not worth it. And it's not, and it's hard. And I mean, but that's, but that's not true. It's not true at all. God loves us. I mean, with that illustration, I mean, he showed me that, and I still, to this day, I still wake up and I still have to check all the time. I'm still feel like I'm not worthy, but I don't have to. I don't have to feel that way. I don't have to give in to that. I just keep on, just one step at another. That's all he asks. He's not asking us to be perfect. He's like my father felt. If the worship team can come up, that would be cool. Please. I just wanted to let you guys know that, I'm not supposed to be, according to a lot of people, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be even up here speaking. I have a lot of, issues and stuff in my life that happened, but learning his word and learning stuff, greater is he that's in me than is in the world. And that's every day I have to rely on him. I also, like I said, the youth group, I mean, the reason why the youth groups are so successful is not because, we have some great leaders, don't get me wrong, but when it comes down to it, it's all God. Because it's not because of what I had done. I'm lucky, like I said, sometimes I'm lucky to get up in the morning, sometimes I'm lucky to move it. And so I'm going to ask for the prayer team to come up, and we're going to, if you have anything, you're going through anything, we just ask you to come up and give prayer, because it's one of the most powerful things that you can do. And if you're on the fence about Jesus and giving your life to Jesus, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be, you're not going to just, go and boom, everything's going to be rosy and great, and it's not going to be that way. But I will say this: He will never leave you or forsake you. He has never left me, even though I didn't think he was there. But when I didn't think he was there, that's how close he was. He was closer than where our hearts were together. He was carrying me, and he carried me a lot. I've got muscles out here. But yeah, no. So I just want to ask you to come up and for prayer. And I would just ask, if you haven't made a decision, I ask that you please make the decision to make him the Lord of your life. I'm telling you, you will not regret it.